Hello, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for being here, wherever you're joining from. Welcome, welcome to another week. Always good to see where everybody is joining from on the map there. Welcome. If you have a question, don't forget to start your message with the letter Q. It'll make it easier for me to spot it on the screen here once things get going. Otherwise, we're going to just start chatting and see what happens. It's been another week. Busy week as always, but did a couple bike rides this weekend. That was nice. And yeah, got a handful of things here set up on the desk we can play with if you have any questions. I've got a little bit of everything right now. I'm actually updating the firmware on the YoloBox Extreme. Got the Roadcaster video because I was using it on Thursday actually for a Zoom workshop. Actually, it wasn't Zoom. It was like a On24, which is not my favorite platform. But I was using that as the webcam and iPad timer break and stuff like that. I've got the rest of the gear around here somewhere as well. So yeah, feel free to drop in questions and we can see what we can connect and get going. Somebody last week had a good suggestion, which is for my little chat management system that I have here, and I got it working. Hopefully, we'll find out. So when I click on a message and show it on the screen, if you reply to that person, it should show up in a special place on my screen here, so that I don't miss follow-up comments about it. So we'll see if that works. I hope it works. Something is a little bit wrong with the CSS on my chat today, so hopefully it works. I think it's because I've got extra stuff on the screen. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, no, something is definitely wrong, and I can't see the bottom of this chat. Great, that's not gonna work. Well, maybe if I zoom out, yeah, that actually weirdly kind of works. Cool. Let's see if this works. IT never gets old. How is the house coming? Any update on an official move-in date? No idea when we'll be able to move in. Right now, the biggest holdup is on getting the solar panels installed, which I need to do first before we can get the power hooked up, for reasons that are too complicated to go into in a short answer. So we don't have permanent power, and until we have permanent power, there's now a bunch of things that are waiting on that. So, yeah. And hey, thanks, Nils. It worked. It showed up in my special little column. That's great. Well, that'll hopefully keep the chat lively. So yeah, no idea. Still hoping for this summer, but I don't. We need to get the permits for the solar panels still. It's been a whole thing. Actually get the work done to install them and then get the power hooked up. So we'll see. We will see. Leonard, thank you for the super chat. What are the best ways to promote a YouTube channel, and what category can a channel providing legal information be classified? Ooh, that's a good question. So I'm definitely not a marketing expert by any means, but I can tell you what has worked for me. The most successful streams that I've done on this channel and that I've seen Lily do are tapping into a current trend of something, whether that's a product launch or news cycle, and doing a live stream about it. Doesn't have to be like super prepared about the topic. It doesn't necessarily have to be like a researched news reporty thing, but if you make it somewhat about that thing, it could be a news event, could be product launch or whatever, and then just make sure your title is stuff with keywords, then people will, because it's like in the cycle, in the news cycle of your target audience, people will be more likely to click on that when they see it's live in a thumbnail on the YouTube homepage compared to just like a generic thing. So like this live stream is a perfect example of what not to do. I have now been calling this live stream the same thing for like a year, and it is not at all keyword optimized. So I'm frankly surprised anybody's here at all. So thanks. Um, this live stream is now just called Live Q&A, answering your questions about live streaming gear. I have a one keyword in there, right? Live streaming. So um, hopefully some new people have seen it. If you did, welcome. We've got at least one new person in here today, Baltic Lab. Thanks for joining. Curious how you found it. So the ones that I've done that have like gotten the most new people to show up are when there's like a new ATEM, when the ATEM first launched, doing live streams about it and putting A10 Mini in the title, that kind of thing. So just using YouTube's natural recommendation engine and then catering to that. So yeah. Second part of your question was what classification is this? Do you mean the like the YouTube category? So like where is that on my, so I have like the category here. Oh yeah, I don't know what this does. Also, why is mine entertainment? I don't remember doing that. I should probably call this science and technology. I don't really know what these categories do. I assume it feeds into the recommendation engine somewhat. I don't think it's super important. I wouldn't worry too much about it. Probably I would choose, in your case, if we're talking about, well, it kind of depends on what you're doing. Probably either education or, I mean, I've seen legal channels that are entertainment for sure. Also news and politics. Kind of depends on what it is you're talking about. But again, I don't think it's super important. I don't know what they do. Anyway, thanks for being here. Thanks for the super chat. John says the YouTube categories are whack. I agree. Graham question. I had a weird A10 Mini Extreme ISO failure. Computer noise on USB output embedded in video recordings. What do you mean computer noise? Computer, like, do you mean like like buzzing interference or like what do you mean computer noise? Oh, second part was inputs to the ATEM must have been fine. Have you ever seen anything like that? Computer noise, massive interference. USB output and embedded in video recordings. HDMI audio was fine, as was the mic one audio source. So it's on the, it sounds like it was introduced in their H.264 encoder that's used for the USB output and the recording. That's super weird. I'm guessing it didn't sound like a ground loop issue then. Also, that would probably have come through the analog. No, I've never seen that happen before. That's super bizarre. Yeah, so was it like blocky digital distortion? Yeah, never. I would write into the support. If you have a recording of the glitch, I would snip out that little part and then send that to Blackmagic support because they should definitely know about that. Cool. Okay, let me definitely put a Q in front of your message if you have a question, because I'm going to go through the question column here. Eric says, just updated my YoloBox from Pro to Ultra due to overheating and locking up after a few hours. Is the new processor up to the task? You switched to the Ultra. The Pro, the Ultra definitely has a better processor than the Pro. If I remember right, it's the Ultra and the Mini. They got the same processor. and the Pro is the older. Did I get that right? They've done a lot of hardware fiddling around. Has anybody done this? Anyway, the Ultra is definitely a upgrade from the Pro in the processor. I'm trying to find the specs here. Somewhere they have their CPU specs, but not here apparently. I know I've seen like a comparison chart of all the different models somewhere. It might have just been something Frank sent me. Yeah, weird. Okay, I'll have to dig that up. Anyway, Ultra is definitely more powerful than the Pro. You should definitely see an improvement. Saltwater salmon on the Olive Ultra. Is there a workaround to vertical stream to YouTube? There's not a menu option for YouTube in the deck for vertical. Do you know why? Oh yeah. So I don't think there's a good way to do that. The can you do YouTube vertical outside of the YouTube app even? I don't think you. Actually, no, I'm not sure. Should we try it? What do I have that can do a vertical stream? This one can do it. If I can find the power cord for it. 12 volt DC. Now I'm kind of curious. So, okay, let me back up. What's going on is in the YoloBox, if you're in horizontal mode, which is what I've got this Ultra. I just finished upgrading the firmware on it, so it signed me out. That's helpful. If you're in horizontal mode on the YoloBox, then it's basically just sending RTMP or SRT in with a horizontal canvas to whatever stream key you are putting in. There is a YouTube connection where you can like log into YouTube, but really all that's doing is like setting the RTMP URL automatically from your YouTube account. And that will only ever stream a horizontal aspect ratio. So that is so yeah, in the normal horizontal mode, you can't make it do a vertical canvas. Oh, the Director Mini is probably the easiest way for me to do this. Or Director 1. In vertical mode on the YoloBox Ultra and Extreme doesn't have vertical mode yet. On the Ultra or the Pro, just Ultra, it doesn't. It's not like putting the canvas. It's not just like a vertical canvas. It's actually going into like a whole different mode where it's running apps. So it runs like the Instagram app and it runs the TikTok app, and then it's not streaming RTMP to a stream key. It's doing whatever the app code is doing, which might be RTMP under the hood, but it's running an app, and there's no crossover between the two. So that is very different, however, from, I will boot up the Director, which I think this is the right power supply. Yeah, should work. No, that's possibly underpowered. Where's the right one? Too many devices. Probably this one. Director 1, yes. Always label your power supplies. I have little stickers. As soon as I take a power supply out of the box, I put a sticker on it, because if I don't do it right then, I'm going to forget what it came from. And they're definitely not all created equal. So some of these devices, especially these newer ones, are requiring a lot more power compared to before. Like the Director 1 requires 3.5 amps at 12 volts, which is kind of a lot. And not every 12 volt power supply will do that. Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna boot that up and then I'll show you a demo. But your question was there is there is not an option in the YoloBox YoloBox Ultra to do a vertical stream to RTMP stream key, which is what you need in order to go to YouTube. So unless you can get the YouTube app on there, then you can use the YouTube app for vertical. It won't work. The Director 1, however, does have the ability to make the entire canvas vertical. So let me get this. Now I've got this on top of the YoloBox. Let me go make a new show. So here is where you can make a vertical show. So we'll just call this vertical 30. So I'm creating it in vertical mode, and then the whole thing is going to switch over. Now the nice little stand doesn't make any sense. Maybe if I hang it off the side of that. There we go. So now the whole Director 1 is in vertical mode, and I can go and add sources like normal. It would help if I had anything plugged into it. Steal some cables from the Roadcaster. Sorry, Roadcaster. Where is your HDMI? 1. There we go. There I am. It has helpfully defaulted to, sorry for that reflection, gosh. Now I can't even put this on the screen really because it's vertical, so it'll be sideways if I actually pipe it into the stream. I really need it. This is why I have these stands to tip it at that angle. So it helpfully actually puts even though the Director Mini is in vertical mode, it puts the video source in this direction because it assumes you don't have your cameras turned sideways. But if you did have your cameras turned sideways, you can always rotate them also, which is kind of cool. So I will leave it like that. Then I want to I do want to put a background on here to get the point across. So what I'm going to do is edit that. Where's the add a layer button? Add a picture, SD card. Oh, I made this when I was testing out some streams on Instagram. We can reorder that to move it to the back. Okay. Now I've got a vertical background. I can save that. And then this, the whole point of this was to show you that for this, I can push a RTMP stream to YouTube still. Where's my streaming settings? So instead of logging in, I'm actually going to just do RTMP directly. And I'm actually going to do this on the computer where it's a little bit easier. So let me find the address 10.11.70.3. And what I want to do is test whether this actually works to YouTube. So we're going to have to do a 3-minute stream really quick. Let me just go here, make a new, schedule a stream, test vertical stream, and we're going to make this unlisted. And I can't remember if this works or not, so we're going to find out. My theory is if I just start sending vertical data to YouTube, it shows up somewhere. It might be in Shorts. So I just need a new, make sure I give it a new stream key, copy that to here. Gonna paste it in without showing you the stream key. And let's see what happens if I go live. What does YouTube think? Okay, it's showing me a vertical video. I just realized I think I have to do this public because I think it shows up in YouTube Shorts. So we're going to make this public. And that means I'm going to go here and drop in the link to the main stream. And we're going to go live. So this is testing a vertical stream on YouTube because I think I remember this showing up in YouTube, in the YouTube app under the Shorts section, rather than in, but of course I don't know how to actually find it because it's gonna, I have to get it recommended to me. Well, if you open the YouTube app on your phone, let me know what it looks like on your home feed. Yeah, even if I go to the live section, it's not showing it to me. The link I will share the link. Oh, Andre sees it. If we open the link on okay, we got a few people who found it. That's great. Well, YouTube's not showing it to me, so I can't really do anything. Oh, and the YouTube app is broken now too. I can't even click into it from my phone. Well, cool. Well, you all are seeing the vertical stream. So that was that is, oh, and I don't have it doing camera angles to that. Let me switch that around. I'll make that send that feed. So then I can cut to the overhead shot in the vertical video as well. So you can see the Director Mini that's doing the vertical stream. So that's the thing that the YoloBox doesn't have there, because there's no way to stream a vertical canvas in the YoloBox, which is what you need in order for this to work. You can stream vertically in the YoloBox, but only through the apps that are supported in the YoloBox. Cool. So I'm going to end that so that we don't split the split the traffic here. Thanks for joining on the vertical stream. The link is in the description to the main stream if you have only found the vertical stream. Joel got notification and everything too. And okay, cool. Great. Pretty nice actually on a phone. What are you doing? Got notification, didn't have to look for it. Nice. Cool. Great. Let me scroll back to the questions. Oh, here's one from earlier. Kura3E. Is there a way to use the iPad as an external display and write and paint on top? Yes. Yes, there is. I can show you. But I have to reconfigure everything on my desk. But hey, that's what this is all about. So we're gonna get that out of here. Oh, we should probably stop streaming that. I'll set that over here. Let's get this out of the way. Big boy. The YoloBox Extreme is extremely heavy. And then let's get my iPad out, which got tangled up in something. Okay, so there's going to be a couple parts to this. I think I actually have a video that goes through most of this, which is probably going to be a better way to show you. But Oh. The app I'm looking for is... Nope, don't install updates. What am I doing? I'm looking for the app called shoot. I'm completely blanking on the name of the app. Somebody will remind me in the chat of my own video that I have done about this. It's not going to work well if I can't remember the app name. Okay, here's the video. I will drop this video link into the chat. There are, so this is a video, and it takes a little bit of gear to get it to work because you have to get the capture card working and the into the iPad to get your video. But you can also do it over NDI. Video Pencil, that's the app. But go watch that video for a better demo of it. Okay, cool. I need a little tilt of the iPad to get the reflections out of there. And it looks like I am pulling video over NDI right now. So the NDI video is set to this PTZ camera, but I can make it pull something else. Where is it? This one. Let's make it be my main camera. Yeah. So this is my live camera, and then so right now this is live, right? And you can just draw on it, of course, but you can also then output the drawings over NDI, and let's see, settings. This is why I made a video, because I don't remember how to do this. Send NDI output. Yeah. Oh, it should just be going. Okay. So if I go over to my Pro Convert to grab the NDI feed, we should see it here. Yep, there it is. And now the NDI feed from the iPad is being pulled into my switcher. So now I can use it as an overlay in, say, a downstream key. Somewhere I have downstream keys. Key 1 is busy. Key 2. Let's use key 2 is the Pro Convert. And then if we turn that on, probably have to adjust these. There it is. So this is the actual, now you're seeing the output from the iPad app on the actual stream. And if I show you the drawing here, you'll see it's actually going to draw over top so that you can output that on the stream. So that is the way I would recommend doing it. Go watch the video that I linked for the better step-by-step to make that all work. So, yeah. Nils remembered the video pencil. Cool. This has been a fun stream already. It's very warm in here. I need to turn on my air conditioner. I forgot to do it before I started. Yeah, back in a minute. Once I get all the lights in here turned on, it gets very warm very fast. Okay, let me go back through the questions here. Again, put a Q in front of your message, otherwise I'm going to lose it. Bill, keen to see an 8-port Roadcaster video to challenge the new ATEM Extreme ISO G2. What are the chances? I would also like to see that. I don't know. Rode's been up to some interesting stuff, but I feel like they're much more conservative about putting out hardware compared to other companies. Like they have the Roadcaster Pro and the Duo, and like that's right. That's then they have the Streamer X, which is the only other product with a video feed in it, and then they have the Roadcaster Video. I think that the Roadcaster Video is still new enough that they're not eager to update the hardware. Obviously, I could be wrong. I don't have any actual insight into this, but the Roadcaster Video, keep in mind, it's not just a 4-input switcher, because you do have the two USB inputs that you can use, and because it is also a hybrid CPU GPU, they technically could update it to pull in more video feeds over the network. So they could make it support NDI. They could make it be able to support RTMP or SRT. All the technology is in place in the device to make that work. I don't know if they have plans to do that, but that would make it already. It would get you. They could make it have 8 inputs, right? Like they could support 8 video feeds. I don't know how it would work with, because there's only 6 buttons, but there's definitely room for that. As far as like actually new hardware, I don't know. I get the sense that they're not eager to launch new hardware, and they want to just keep pushing the updates on the Roadcaster video hardware that does exist right now. Aries is off topic. How are you feeding that ancient apple black and white in the background? Isn't that great? I love it. It's a fun little trick. So I I got this from a friend, and it was just the shell, so it didn't have any of the guts in it. So I didn't have to feel bad about ripping out the guts of the Mac. So it was just the shell. I bought a LCD monitor, HDMI monitor, like just the guts of one. There's no frame. It was like for Raspberry Pi or something. But it had HDMI input, and it was exactly the right width. It's a little bit shorter because of the aspect ratio, but I just put construction paper, black construction paper, on the top and bottom to make the little bars. So it's just an HDMI monitor sitting back there. And then the inside the case, because it's completely empty, there is a Blackmagic converter. The little bidirect. Wait, I always forget which one has the feature. Where is it? Broadcast converters. It's this one, not the bidirectional. SDI to HDMI, and the thing that makes this work is that in this converter, if you plug it into USB and connect it to your computer, you can load in a LUT, and so I made a LUT in Resolve that converts this color image to black and white and output, and that way it looks black and white, but it's actually slightly blue tinted because it's a full color monitor. So I made it slightly blue tinted because that was kind of look better than actual black and white. So it's running the LUT on this little box, and I have a long SDI cable that goes around from the gear into that and feeding the monitor. So that's the trick. The reluctant marketer says, did you know that when you switch on logging on the Zoe box, it starts an SSH process on port 1701, user root password ZoeTag? I did not know that. That's terrifying. This is just another example of the security of most of this video gear is non-existent. And do not put it onto networks that you do not control. So this is again, like why I always say, if you're not just in your own studio, but if you're like going out and doing a gig somewhere, always bring your own router and make your own local network, so that all these video devices that have terrible security are only on your local network. And then don't let random people get on your Wi-Fi, and then like you're fine. So yeah, it's bad. Andre says, you remember using an Elgato Cam Link on one of the USB ports for extra input. Did you have any success in connecting an iPad that way? HDMI works, but not the cam link. I don't know if I specifically tried that combo. I feel like I did. Let's see, I've got a cam link. Do I have a USB converter for it? Handy. Yes, I do. USB-C. And then we need to go, well, it might depend on the dongle too. Let's see. Input 4, and then let's get the output of the Roadcaster back to the stream. And where is a spare cable? Good thing I have cables draped everywhere. This is a chaotic stream today. Okay, iPad. Probably need to not be in the Video Pencil app to demonstrate this. Let's go back to Live app and queue up something else, and then plug that in and see if it works. Yeah, it's working. I see it there. Oh, went away. Come back. Still got audio. There it is again. Okay. Oh wait, is this not an M1 iPad? This is not an M1 iPad. This is my older one. This is iPad Pro 11 inch. This is definitely not an M1 iPad. My M1 iPad is upstairs, so I don't have a way to quickly get it. But at least that worked. But definitely the dongle will make a difference, so just try a different dongle. Grish says, I'm just going through the questions here, so put a Q in front of your question if you want me to see it, because I'm lost in the chat otherwise. Are the solar panels a personal choice or something enforced by the city-state? Portland doesn't have that many sunny days compared to other regions. Yeah, it's, I mean, we do get enough sun in the summer to make it worth it. Obviously in the winter, it's not even about the clouds. It's about the, because we're relatively far north, and so in the summer, our days are actually very long. Like the sun came up at like 5 this morning or something, and it'll stay light until, what is it, like 7:30 p.m. now, and at the peak of the summer it'll be light till 9:30 p.m. So in the summer we actually get quite a lot of sun. In the winter, then it's the complete opposite, where we get very few hours during the day. And so in the winter months, it'll still be like decent sun on the sunny days when there's no clouds, just for a short amount of time, and that has more of an effect on the power generation compared to the clouds, I think. You can look at the like solar generator estimators, calculators, and you'll see like very clear waves up and down. But it does end up penciling out most of the time to still do panels, even if most of their peak generation is going to be in the summer. But it is absolutely not required to put panels on houses here. Yeah. Newton says, I was watching a YouTuber streaming and he said he has a new 4K switcher. The price is $10K. I almost fell out of my seat. It was a Roland V600 HD 4K. Is there a cheaper 4K switcher on the market? How much? 10K? Really? Also, why is it called V600 HD? Oh, it's not. It's called UHD. This item cannot be returned. Thanks, B&H. Wow. I didn't realize this was 10K. What is on the back? 3 HDMI outs, 2 SDI in, 3 HDMI in, 4 HDMI in. So it's not even that big of a switcher. And it's been a while since I've looked at all the different roll-in models. Picture-in-picture, region of interest, picture-in-picture keying, downstream key. So it looks pretty standard. Their stuff is really expensive. So there are absolutely cheaper 4K switchers. Even Blackmagic's are cheaper. 4K is a lot. Let's see. Let's look at the Blackmagic stuff. Yeah, because even with Blackmagic, you can go to the Television Studio 4K8, which is probably their closest to that style of switcher, and that's $5,000. So that's already half the price, and it has more inputs. It has 8 SDI inputs and 10 aux outputs, which is super handy, actually. And then the other 4Ks you can get are these, which 4ME 4K for $10,000, you get 40 inputs, which is a lot more than the 4 you get on the Roland. So yeah. Then of course there's like the YoloBox Extreme, which is 2K, which is 4K but has a lot of limits that you're not going to find in the ATEM or the Roland, just in terms of, because it's a CPU based instead of FPGA. And what else? I know there's another one somewhere. I just can't remember it now. Uh-oh, that HDMI to the iPad just flickered. From the iPad just flickered. That was weird. Rookie says, you said you're streaming SRT. Is that correct? If so, do you find it better than RTMP? And if so, why? I've been streaming SRT to YouTube just because I got beta access to the feature and I want to just put it through the paces. From my studio, where I have fiber internet that is reasonably stable, it does not make that much of a difference because RTMP with a stable internet connection is fine. The big difference is when you're streaming on a less than ideal network connection, and then it makes a huge difference. It can recover from errors way better than RTMP can. I actually have a video which is worth watching if you're curious about more of the technical differences. I'll drop the link in here. And this goes into a lot of the details about why SRT is better and able to recover from network trouble faster. So that's really the main reason. So if you're streaming mobile, if you're out and about on a cell connection or whatever, you're going to get much more stable streams if you're using SRT. There is actually one other difference with YouTube, which is now I can't remember if they also get. Do we see it in the stats? Yeah. So in YouTube, if you right click on the YouTube player and go to stats for nerds, then you'll get this little thing and you'll see the codec that it's running at. And this is the VP9 codec, which is the better quality one from YouTube. And I believe you only get that if you're doing SRT or 4K RTMP. But regular RTMP you don't. If I remember correctly, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. Andre says, I feel that Roadcaster Video is very picky on the dongle. It is. So the USB, the HDMI to USB needs to be the right USB webcam format because the Roadcaster Video doesn't support all UVC inputs. So there's that. The Cam Link does support it. On the HDMI to, on the iPad USB to HDMI side, that one, yeah, I do believe it is a little bit picky. We will see. Yeah, we'll see if they can. We'll see what they do about that. Oh, Mike asks, what USB dongles have you had luck with on the Roadcaster video? Feel free to drop notes in the chat if you have tested any. The one I'm using right now is a Uni. Let me grab that link. Where is it? It is this one. Drop that link in the chat. That's the one I'm using for this right now, and it seems to be working fine. Under says the problem is typically at the USB A to C side. Oh yeah, I guess that's another failure point. So I'm using, I don't even know what, it's just a random no name brand. It was very cheap. I guess I got lucky. CSD Global, is there any workaround with the A10 Mini Pro to protect settings going back to 0 audio settings? I have one in church that quite often power drops off. It's not ideal for UPS. Absolutely, yes. So 2 things you should do. Always on an ATEM, once you get it working in the state, I forgot to turn that key off. Once you get it working and everything is set and your audio is all set, go up to File and click Save Startup State, and that will make it boot back into however you left it. I kind of wish it would just do that always and just always come back to however you left it, but it doesn't. So do that. That will mostly work most of the time. The other thing you should do, which is more of like a backup thing, is go click Save As, and that'll export an XML file with all of your settings in it. Go save that like on the computer that's there, or keep a copy of a backup yourself, and then you can always restore to that. So you can restore from that XML file. Obviously, that's not like something you want to do regularly when the power goes out, or if someone trips a breaker or just unplugs gear all the time. But clicking Save Startup State will make it remember the settings internally, and it'll boot back into that automatically. It's just that sometimes I feel like it's dropped settings or something else happens, and so like keep the XML file as a backup also. How to Repair says, do you know how to start an Insta360 X3 using a Stream Deck? I want to use it with Ecamm while driving. I need a simple button to start both the Insta360 and Ecamm recording at the same time. I don't think you're going to be able to make that work. I have not seen any integration with the Insta360 over anything except their application. Wow, my hair is really just chaotic today. I'm getting a haircut today finally, thank goodness. It's been way too long. You can see when I film my videos based on how long my hair is, because I usually let it get way too long like this, and then I cut it short, and then I film a bunch of videos, and then they come out slowly. So if you compare the upload date of a video to the last live stream, you'll see how long the delay was between when I filmed it and when I posted it. Anyway, yeah, the Insta360, if you're using it with Ecamm, I think you're going to have much better luck using it as a webcam rather than RTMP. So if you can get a USB cord going from your laptop to the Insta360, pull it in as a webcam, and that'll give you a better, then you don't have to click go live or anything. But yeah. Okay, I'm catching up on the questions. So drop your questions in the chat with the letter Q. Otherwise, I'm going to start scrolling back through the chats. Tom says, probably out of scope, but here goes. I recently got an 8-channel ISO Extreme, and being able to capture all the video feeds into a Resolve project, but my audio mix is in a X32. Do you have any way to import settings for channels into Fairlite in the Resolve project? Ooh. That's a good question. I hadn't really thought about doing it that way. Um, right, because your audio that's recorded is the raw audio, and if you've done processing on the audio in the X32, then you want to be able to recreate that. No, I don't. I've never tried exporting stuff out of the Behringer. I'm curious if you're just recording, then you're clearly recording your program audio somehow, right? But if you feed the audio back out of the X32 into your ATEM, you'll at least get an ISO recording, like a final wave file with your final mix in the ATEM. Yeah, cool idea. Neil says, I wonder why the Zoe box would use port 1701 for SSH. I'm guessing, so I don't think it's the normal SSH, because they mentioned that it turns that on when you switch on logging. So I'm guessing it's a debug thing only. Mike says, we will see what they do about that. Very cagey. I did just get a box, which with some things in it that I can't talk about yet. Randy says, if you have an X Live card on the Behringer, you can import the audio directly into Resolve. What? Interesting. Okay, that's cool. On the X32, you can capture the raw channels, and yes, I have a stereo mix in the ATEM. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I haven't done that myself. Clear Life Media says, do you know of any good rack-mounted Wi-Fi routers? I love the GL iNet, but I want something like it I can throw on a rack so I don't have to set it up and stays in our trailer. I mean, there's like, I'm sure there's a couple. I've never looked for a Wi-Fi one in particular. That's an interesting point. GL iNet rack mount would be cool. Yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna need to sort this out because my little video trailer project is coming along. I need to press the order button this week too. Glenn says, have you downloaded the new app for Rode Video Mixer? Yeah, they just split. It's not really much of an update, but they did just split out the RØDECaster app. So if you have a RØDECaster Video or a Rode or a Streamer X, any RØDECaster actually, RØDECaster, the audio ones also, or the video, they split out Rode Central into 2 apps. So Rode Central is now just for like managing microphones, and the RØDECaster app is where all the RØDECaster stuff control went. So yeah, for the microphones use Rode Central, and for the RØDECaster stuff now you use the RØDECaster app. I suspect it's because there are going to be some interesting new features coming to the RØDECaster line of products, and they wanted to not bog down the microphone management app for people who don't have microphones. That is my suspicion. FC Video says, doing a live stream using vMix where I need to do replays, multi-streams, concern for CPU, absolutely. Looking to stream 2 outputs from another laptop. What uses less resources, NDI, SRT, or video out? Ooh, I don't know exactly in vMix because I don't use vMix because I also am concerned about my CPU, and I don't trust it. So I'm not sure what out of those what is the most CPU intensive. I would guess probably NDI, is the most resource intensive. I'm not sure though, because video output sometimes can be also. Under says, did you experience any issues with the type of USB cable with the RØDECaster video? I found out that it may not even like a Thunderbolt 3 cable. It very much likes its own cable out of the box. Yesterday or Thursday, I was using the cable that it came with. I feel like I've used other cables before, other than the one that it came with, and it was okay, but again, might have just gotten lucky. So that is why they actually sent a really nice cable in the box. Like, it comes with a good quality USB-C cable. Oh, follow up. Thanks, but I wanted to edit the 360 footage after it was made. Not to live stream it. Oh, as it's on the outside of the vehicle. In that case, I misunderstood the question. Because you don't actually want to start streaming. You want to start recording. In which case, no, I still don't think you can do it with a Stream Deck, but you can get this, which I do not use enough, and I actually probably should charge it up now that it's summer and I'm doing bike rides. This little thing is a remote for the Insta360, and it comes with a watch band or a handlebar mount. So this has a button that lets you start and stop recording. So it's not quite as simple as push one button to start both, but at least you can start and stop it from inside the car without having to mess with the 360 itself. Nils says the intuitively named L009UIGS2 HaxD in is rack mountable. Okay, well, thanks for the recommendation. Henrik says, is there any way to use your phone to control macros on the A10 Mini Pro? I know about Companion, but then I need a PC, and I was planning on using the ATEM in the car for live streaming. I love all the mobile live streaming. This is great. I'm also gonna hopefully do a bunch of that this summer. I'll show you my ridiculous contraption in a minute. So yes, the answer is yes. If you don't want Companion, although I will say running Companion on a Raspberry Pi in that kit would actually go a long way for you. But if you don't want that still, then yes, the app called Mix Effect can run on an iPhone also. And it looks like this, where you connect it to, where's a good one to connect to. Once it's connected, oh, come on. I think that's the right IP address. I'll drop the link in the chat in the meantime. It's called Mix Effect. This must not be the right ATEM. Or is it that my app doesn't have network permissions or something? This is weird. It should just connect. I normally use it on my iPad, not my phone. Oh, there it goes. So once it's connected, then you get a bunch of options to control all sorts of stuff, and one of them is macros. So you can click those to run the macros in your ATEM. And you can do all the other ATEM control stuff too, like just regular switching or super source. This is actually a really good tool for building super source layouts. Not that A10 Mini Pro has a super source, but it's a great app. I highly recommend it. What am I doing with the vehicle video? Currently refitting my camper for live streaming using Starlink, adding external cameras, using eCam inside. Looking forward to the video. That sounds like fun. Yeah, I am working on... So if you watched last week, I showed a little sneak peek of this bike trailer idea. It's based on this, which is this. Well, it's sort of based on this. There's this aluminum frame, and the wheelbase attaches, and then there's the hitch. And if you look at, they have a good case study of this. Look at these loads of gear people have carried on this. They had a really good. Why is it not on this page? It's somewhere. It's on their blog, apparently. This person made a little food truck out of it, which is super cute. So they built up their own frame on top of that frame. So that was my idea, and I found I don't have a place to weld, and I don't want to really learn welding right now. So instead, I found this place that does custom aluminum extrusion carts. And let me make that not see-through because that's too distracting. There we go. So the idea is that I'm going to basically start with that base, put the trailer wheels under it, but then go up with more aluminum. So this is what it looks like now. I just rebuilt this from scratch on Friday. Used the website to build this from scratch. This is much smaller than the one I was showing last week, and it doesn't have the top part. So it's actually about, what is it, 720 millimeters long. So 28 inches wide, and then 20 inches deep. And these little feet will flip up, and the wheels get attached in the center here. So then I'll put the hitch there, which is what the little cutouts are for. There's a cutout there. Oh, there's also a panel. There's a panel down here. There we go. So there's a base with a little cutout for the hitch to wrap around. And then the feet fold up, and then it becomes I can just pull it on the bike. And it should be stable enough. I got it to 20 inches because the trailer guy is going to make me a custom wheelbase that's just a little bit wider than the with different wheels, so that it can be a little bit wider than the one in that photo. And then yeah, so this little thing folds down too. I don't know why all the panels turned transparent. There we go. So I got a little desk surface to work on. I put little rack ears in it inside there. I've got little random handles inside to strap things to it. The back side is transparent. The weight of this is 58 kilograms, which is 120 pounds, which sounds like a lot. But it's actually not that bad, especially, so the wheels are in the center, and if everything is balanced properly, 120 pounds plus the gear that I put into it, which the biggest thing will be the battery, the Anker battery, which I'll just have to make sure it's in the center. Once it's balanced, it's actually like not that bad to pull. And I did a test run of this on Friday because I needed to go pick up one more piece of material for the house. I went to a scrapyard that has slabs, like remnants of countertop slabs from like offcuts from the rest of the projects, and I just like went into the back and was looking through their scrapyard. Where is that one? So I was just looking through the scrapyard for something roughly the right size that was that I can cut down to the exact right size. And thankfully, the piece I need is most of these were the right size. So it was just a matter of finding one in the color. I couldn't find any black ones that I really wanted, but I did find one, and I got it on my trailer. And wow, the Photos app on my phone just crashed. Literally just crashed. But I got this on my bike trailer, and this slab is my guess was somewhere between 160 pounds and 180 pounds, I think. And then the trailer itself is like 30 or so, maybe 20. That trailer, so decent amount of weight, but I biked it just fine, like many miles. So I wanted to do this partially as a test run for, can I pull this 160-pound trailer with 50 pounds of gear in it, and I'm reasonably confident I will be able to, based on that trial run. What are you doing? Says, do you consider balance when you design the trailer, or wait and adjust once in hand? Definitely, it needs to be balanced. Because if there's too much weight on one end, it's going to put too much stress on the other end, which can very much work against you. So one of the cool things about this trailer design, actually, the way that they do the wheels, is you can move them. You can move the mounting point reasonably quickly. So if you have a load that is centered on the bed, then you want the wheels in the center. If you have an extra long load that's sticking out the back, you would want to move the wheels back so that it's balanced. Yeah, 58 kilograms is way better than the first. So the first one I did last week was like 42 inches wide, which was significantly larger. And interestingly, it didn't bring the cost down that much to shrink it, because most of the cost is not the extra footage of the aluminum tubing. Most of the cost is in all the little attachments and little brackets, which there were roughly the same number of. There was only a few that I got rid of. Roughly the same number of little corner pieces, because it's still the same general idea of like a cart with a shelf and where did it go? So like, if you just imagine you just take this and stretch it longer, you're not changing the number of connector pieces. So most of the cost is just in that. But the weight, the aluminum definitely, like making the aluminum longer definitely adds weight, as does the panels. These are way heavier than I thought. And I shrunk these down, as the side ones are 1/8 inch, but this is still 2 pounds for that panel. The bottom one is the beefy one, because it's 9.5 centimeters, and this thing weighs 3 kilograms. So you imagine that a little bit longer, and it's going to add a lot of weight. So it really cut the weight down a lot by shrinking it, more than I cut the cost down. Your rig frame looks like it's made of steel. Can you find a place that makes aluminum frame? This one is aluminum. This is extruded aluminum. So you can see it's got the little, the stripey is because this is the lightweight kind. The bottom one is the solid, heavier weight one. But yeah, this is extruded aluminum. If I take off that, you'll see the extrusion there. That's the extrusion profile. So this is definitely not steel. The frame that I have, the pink one that I was hauling the slab on, is a steel frame trailer, but that's just because I just bought it made that way. No problem pulling it unless you hit a hill. I mean, yeah, the hills definitely are noticeable. There were definitely some hills on the way on that run, and having an e-bike is super handy. So for most of the ride, I didn't need to use the battery at all, because if I'm going downhill, it's pushing me. And on a flat road, once you get the momentum up, like, it doesn't take much to keep it rolling. But yes, on the hills, absolutely, absolutely needs a lot of power, a lot of leg power, or a little bit of battery power. So it worked well. It was a good trial run. NX3D says we can make that for much cheaper. Although I am really curious what would happen with the tariffs getting it sent over at this point. And shipping. Although shipping for this is going to be expensive too, but international shipping for that much metal is going to be really expensive. I don't know. Also, like, I'm just really impressed with this website of like, you can just make whatever you want, and they have this whole catalog of all the little parts, and they do a lot automatically. Also, like, let's see, where's a good example? Well, even just these corner pieces. Like, I put this in the corner, it knows that I need 2 screws. Okay, turn off little pop-ups. It knows that I need 2 screws there, and it's already put them into the list, into the material list. So if I go look at the where is it? Yeah. So if I go look at this, it's already calculated. Those are all the obvious ones, but way down here somewhere are the screws. Yeah. It's like, oh, you need 278 drop-in spring-loaded M8 nuts. You need 10 flathead screws. I did not have to put those in. 224 M8 screws. It's counted them all out and did that all automatically, washers and everything. It's super, super cool. I'm impressed. They this is the website. Absolutely not sponsored. But maybe I should get them to sponsor me, because this is I'm becoming a super fan of this site very quickly. You can like build whatever you want. It's made for like manufacturing, where if you look at their library of stuff, a lot of it is like conveyor belts and robots, robot arms. And these are like $33,000 for that robot arm. Contact us for that one. $44,000 for that one. It's wild. But if you just stick to the framing section and you do the aluminum extrusions, you can build all sorts of cool desks and consoles and whatever. I do wish they had some. It took me a long time to get these lined up, and I don't know if they're actually exactly lined up in this model, because they don't have a way to like adjust those in that spacing in. There's no like auto rack width snap to rack width thing, which there really should be. It took me a while to get it to the right spot, and even then I wasn't sure enough to put that panel all the way to that side, because once the panel's cut, it has to be exactly the right size. So instead I did this, where I made the panel random size, arbitrary size, so that bar is just at the panel location, and then separately is this bar for the rack, so that I can shift that around based on where it needs to be for the rack gear to work, to land right. CSD Global says, is it not possible to build in composite lighter? Possibly. But again, like, there's absolutely cheaper or lighter ways to build that if I had the ability to weld things, or more access to raw materials. And those are not skills that I have currently. So this seems like a reasonable way to get the end result reasonably quickly, and it's still flexible. Also, I like that it's modular, so that like if I decide later that I want to add a whole thing on top or build stuff out to the side, I can just go and like get more parts and swap things around. So it is going to be a great live stream building this thing. I am absolutely going to live stream it. It says, oh yeah, the other thing it tells you is the expected build time, which this is now sitting at 9.4 hours. There's the ships in 5 days. Also, like, that's fast. 9 hours 44 minutes. I'm guessing it's going to be longer than that. I'll probably get the hang of it once I start going, but I'm sure there's going to be a couple things at the beginning that are like I do in the wrong order and have to undo and redo. 58 kilograms, 5 days to ship. I mean, can't argue with that, right? And I know that all the right screws are going to show up. And it'll be fun. How thick are the side panels? So I did them as thin as I could because the weight, it essentially doubles the weight, making it bigger. So the side panel, so the bottom one was 1 centimeter because that's like, that needs to be solid. These ones are 3 millimeters, which is the thinnest they go. And so that is, the weight of this panel is 1 kilogram. So if I made it twice as thick, it would be twice the weight, which adds up. For the top panels, because these are actually going to be supporting things that I put on them, I made these ones thicker. So this one is 2 kilograms because it is actually 6 millimeters. Which I'm pretty sure is going to be thick enough to like set, like I need to set a monitor on it or whatever, right? It's going to be cool. It'll be fun. IT Never Gets Old says, do you, in X3D, do you do custom stuff for people other than Aaron? Yes, they do. Great. Also, if you're in Europe, I'm sure it would be insanely expensive to get this company, Vention, to ship there, so talk to NX30 instead. Oh, they also do more new things. They just sent me this one, custom printed coaster. It's very nice printing. I'm impressed. So they can do printing on stuff now too. Very cool. Fun little shop. Tom says, I picked up a Stream Deck. Where have I been? Can you open web pages on computer B from a Stream Deck connected to computer A? The Elgato software, no. If you're using Companion, you might be able to do that through Apple scripts, I think. I think we tried this at one point. Now I can't remember if it worked or not. But generally with the Stream Deck software itself, like from Elgato, no, not really. Giovanni says, find a sheet metal shop that will make thinner gauge aluminum side panels. This place also does aluminum side panels. I haven't actually compared the weight. Let's find out. Okay, let's try this. I'm gonna hide that one. And then I'm gonna go, oh, I need to buffer out the, so I don't want the panel on that bottom row because that's where the wheel attachment gets attached. So I need to put these little placeholders here to block it because the panel tool is going to auto fill whatever of this I select. So if I do that, I go create panel. So this is HDPE. They also do sheet metal. That's also 3 millimeters. What about this one? There we go, 1 millimeter. Let's see what that ends up being. And here is, while I'm waiting for that, here is the NX3D website, 3D printing and other stuff. Okay, so we got the aluminum panel in here. NX3D doesn't have this cool of a website though, sorry. This is also 1 kilogram. Interesting. Why is it also 1 kilogram? Interesting. That it is the same weight as the plastic one. So I guess I'll stick with the HDP. Go bring that back. What are all these hidden? Uh-oh. Oh, I remember what that was. That was the top part I was experimenting with. Where's the panel? Probably that one. Yeah. So this panel is also 1 kilogram. Yeah. I don't know. Cable management plans. So that's why I put a lot of these little handles and stuff inside, so I can tie things down. Also, this is aluminum extrusion, so I can always just stick. I'm probably gonna have to order extra M8 nuts, but because then I can just stick whatever I want onto the aluminum on the inside. But yeah, and I've got like so these through holes are for running cables up to the gear on the top or on that shelf. I'm not always going to have rack mount gear installed. Like if I'm doing stuff with, in fact, I don't even necessarily have a plan to put rack mount gear in there. I just saw the rack rails and I was like, let me make it so that I can do that. That's why there's a shelf there, because most of the time I probably will just have stuff on the shelf. I put these holes here so I can like put ties, like a Velcro tie through it, and strap stuff down. So we'll see. My plan with this is to be able to put like the Director 1 on here, put a camera attached to one of the poles, put some tripods through it for storage. Basically get everything wired up, put the battery down there, wire everything up so that it's all like as ready to go as possible. And then be able to wheel it out and do as little setup as possible to go live. So I want to do some streams of bike rides, kind of like how I did this the drone shots, or the live stream of with the drone shots of the bike ride in that circle. I had my little kiosk set up in the corner, but it took so much setup time because I had to like unfold the table and plug everything in and then unplug everything on the way out. So yeah. You need a drone landing pad on top. Yes, I do. So if you remember from last week, the cart looked a little bit taller, and zoom is very touchy on this. It looked a little bit taller, and I'm still considering doing that. So I have this piece on top, and I'm thinking about, I made it like split here where it kind of sits on top. That's why it's got these extra brackets. That way it's not permanently part of it. So I can like put that on if I want, or I can take it off and have it be smaller. It's also same with these parts can come off to make it shorter. But my thought is, if it's this tall, I can do things like, or if I have one on the other side as well, I can do things like put a helipad on top for the drone landing, or I can mount a banner, like just a printed banner across the top, or strap some cameras, like these little things onto the top. Yeah, so I'm probably gonna order it with the parts for this extension also, and a crossbar across the top. I just may not always use it in that configuration, but I think it'll I think it'll be good. Don't forget the disco ball extension. Oh yeah, and lasers. I definitely will put LED strips around the whole thing for any nighttime rides. Be a devil and electrify the trailer wheels. Oh, I don't think that's a good idea. Single pole is all you need for a drone pad. That's true. Yeah, so I can also if I have it the parts for the top part, I can also always put it just zoom on this, man. I really need to fix that. I can always put just one pole up here and then like attach a platform on the top or strap antennas or something like that. You may feel quite different with your new wheels being a lot smaller. The wheels I'm going to have are 16-inch, and the ones on this pink trailer that I have, I believe, are 20. But I think it'll be fine. External access point would support the range of the drone. Yeah, and that's also one of the reasons I'm considering this, especially even if I have just one pole here, being able to strap the mobile router up on the top would help a lot. Solar panels on the top, absolutely. Absolutely solar panels for the top to, not that, I'm actually kind of curious how much it would generate with the panels that size. Don't forget a seat for Lily. She's got her own bike. Anyway. How to repair it. It says it's amazing you're using the same trailer as I am with my camper van. Starlink really changed things. Oh yeah, I can get a Starlink for the top as well. So I need to, this week I need to actually put in the order because it says 5 days for the manufacturing for all the parts, which is extremely fast. I'm assuming they have all the aluminum chopped up already because it's like stock sizes. Although I guess it would be pretty fast because they, at least all the templates would be because they only come in increments of 45 centimeters, so you can't get arbitrary lengths of aluminum, which means I'm sure their jigs are much quicker to set up when it's just these stock sizes. The plastic panels are the ones that are like completely custom because they do cut to size, cut notches, cut your little holes wherever you want them. And those say 3 days for manufacturing, which is really impressive. Could leave the router in the rack, put a satellite on top. Yeah, totally. Am I including chairs? I have folding chairs, but they're too low for this. So no, and this is also built out to countertop height right now. So standing height, not desk height, which would be a way to cut down some weight also if I shortened the whole thing. But I'm worried about storage if I shorten it too much down to desk height. Right now it is standing, so because I lose a lot of space to the wheels, the wheel will come down to slightly above the bottom of this bar, which means it'll also come up to about here. So I don't really have access through the side. I only have access through the front and back. So if I shorten the whole thing, it'll shave some weight off, but then this inner, I would probably have to not have the inner compartment, the separate inner compartment if I do that. So lose the shelf, probably lose the rack mounting, and just have it be one space inside. But then I could make it desk height, I think. It's a thought, but I feel like the standing height's gonna be more useful for all the different things I want to do with it. Place the PTZ cam at the top of the pole. Absolutely, yes. It'd be great if they did a time lapse of the build. They're not building it. They're gonna ship me all the parts. I'm gonna build it. They do offer services to build it and then ship it built, but I'm sure that makes the shipping more expensive. And their quote for assembly was, now I don't remember where it was. I saw it somewhere. It was like, it adds like $1,500 for them to assemble it. It's standing height when the rig is mounted to the trailer. So the way that it works is I don't have a way to do the model in here, but that trailer wheel base, it's like, imagine this frame is this frame here. So the little wheel parts, the wheel part is this, and it gets attached, just attached to the underside. And the wheels don't come, the wheels come down to about the bottom of this, so that when these feet fold down, it lifts the wheels off the ground. So so that's why I know that, like, I know this is countertop height, because when it's standing on the ground, it'll be as high as this, and the wheels are not a factor at that point. And then I fold the feet up, and the wheels drop down to the ground, and then it rolls. What PoE switch am I considering? I probably won't do unified gear on that, because it doesn't really make sense for a mobile setup, I feel like. I have a PoE switch over there, which I got for this kind of purpose, and it's actually just because I needed to power a camera that's over in the corner. And it seems to be fine. I think it's a Netgear. I don't know. I haven't thought too much about that. It'll depend. This isn't meant to be a permanent video cart either, because I want to be able to, switch things up and, like, throw a YoloBox on there and then do a YoloBox live stream, or throw the Roadcaster video and do, like, a mobile podcast setup. So for all those different uses, it's going to be a lot of different gear going in and out of it. That's kind of my thought. I just want to be able to bring it inside here into the studio to be able to put all the video gear in it, set it all up, and then have it just ready to go. So that's the idea. You can use carbon fiber to reduce the weight on the panels. I don't know. I feel like 2 pounds for the big panel isn't that bad. It was like 6 pounds before when I was using the thicker one. I was like, that's too much. Studio Back Media says, what can you tell us about the new Yolo Live Extreme? When will we see a full review? It's on my list. I have a lot of things that are on my list for making videos of, and I have been having extremely little time to work on them, because I really only do this on Saturdays and Sundays at this point. My weeks are too full of day job work to even have the mornings available. Also, because of the construction work, that's taking up any of the moments between meetings. So yeah, I don't know. But what I can say about the YoloBox Extreme right now is that it is very, very similar to the Ultra, except it's bigger and has more inputs and is much heavier. But it works the same way. So if you've used the Ultra, if you go look at the videos of the Ultra, it will... it's fundamentally the same kind of thing. So there's going to be minor differences, and obviously it can do more things because it's more powerful. Like, it can handle more inputs and outputs and stuff, but it is fundamentally the same thing. Stand for the YOLO Extreme this week. Oh, great. It does need one. That'll help a lot. It'll make a great lectern for when you start street protests against tariffs on AV gear from overseas. That is another use of it. Yep. They make Ethernet switches that run off of DC. The battery that I have is the, like, Anker Solix. So it does the AC output on it, but it does have some DC output. Obviously, it'd be better to not switch back and forth. So if I can power stuff over DC, that'd be cool. And yes, absolutely a ham cart. Yeah, that's the other reason for wanting the tower over here, is to be able to attach antennas up there, go roll out and try to track some satellites on the radio. What are some of the other things I was going to do with it? Photo booth. So stick like a large monitor, some sort of camera, iPad, printer, turn it into a photo booth for some bike rides. Yeah, it'll be fun. Netgear is good for PoE. Yeah, I haven't really looked at brands other than Unify for a long time because I've just been buying Unify gear for the home and studio network. But projector mount, movie nights. Why not use a DC to AC converter? So the battery has one in it. That's why. It's let's see if I can find. I don't even know if I've ever dropped a link to that before. I should probably do that. Which one is it? This one. Yeah, this one. Anker Solix. So it has these, yeah, it has a 12 volt DC in a car socket, and then it has these outlets, including a 20 amp outlet. And it has USB power delivery, which that says 100 watts on one of the ports, so that's cool. But it's heavy. It weighs a lot, but that's the battery that I used for the other live stream already, and it lasted way more than enough. Did you know that an electric bicycle can generate power when you're going downhill? Only if you have the generator in it. Not all e-bikes have the gear for it. When Lily got her bike, she was actually asking the people. She got an e-bike a couple months ago. We were talking with the bike company about this, and the company that she got it from said that they actually don't like using the generators in their bikes because it doesn't end up generating that much power, and it's just like another system that can break down. So they didn't recommend. They don't build their bikes with the generators in them. But she, on her non-e-bike, she actually does have a generator in the front wheel that it generates enough power to just charge the lights on the bike, which is nice because it means that you never have to worry about batteries running out on the front and the rear lights, which is cool. And that is super, super useful. Henrik says, I'm getting actual question back to the topic here. Great. House on wheels. I'm getting 1080 24 to the live view from the A10 Mini Pro. Is there any way to get 1080 60 from the? Yeah, there's a setting in there in the ATEM. You can choose the frame rate of the ATEM. This is the big one, but it works the same way. In the settings, general, you can choose the switcher video standard. So, yeah, I think it ships by default at 24, but you can change it to 1080 60 if you want. Some of the ATEMs you can choose a different resolution for the multi-view, but I think the A10 Mini does not let you do that. So whatever is the switcher standard is the same as the multi-view standard. But you can just change it there. I do think it will. Maybe that's just the old ATEM. It may not do that anymore. It might delete all your media when you change the standard. So make sure before you do that, make sure you go to File, Save, and export all your media. Because then you can import just the media back in after it changes over. Andre says, have you been using Tailscale for a while? Do you find them trustworthy? How much of your network do you expose to Tailscale? I do. Yeah, I've been using them for a while now. And again, on my list is a video to properly explain how to set it up and use it for this stuff. But it is, so it's WireGuard under the hood, which is an open source VPN protocol. The Tailscale part is like the management layer on top of it, which just does a lot of it does the key management and auto discovery, where like you log in onto the Tailscale app and it just connects it up to your account which is but under the hood it's doing the WireGuard certificate like or key management stuff for you. So you're not relying on them to route your traffic the way you are with like NordVPN or whatever of those. You're only relying on them for the config. So you are still trusting them to not insert their own backdoors into your VPN or whatever. But it's nowhere near the same as like using a VPN service like NordVPN, where like you are literally sending all of your internet traffic to their cloud and then they're going out. So it's completely different from that. And yes, I do trust them as a company. They seem to have a good business model. I personally know one of the founders. It seems like they're doing all the right things. So, as far as how much of my network do I expose? So I do have my Synology NAS in the closet set up to expose the studio network over Tailscale using the routing trick that makes it so that I can get into the rest of the devices here remotely. So if I'm remote and I'm on my laptop and my laptop is connected to the Tailscale network, I can access all the local devices here from that too. But again, like they're not routing the traffic. They're just brokering the VPN connections between my devices. So it's very different than, yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. The Apple TV app can also do network routing, which is a cool trick. Graham says, is there a way to select which inputs to ISO record with the A10 Mini Extreme? I only have 3 inputs so the SSD fills with junk files quickly. There is no option. It's all or nothing. But that said, if there's nothing plugged into one of the inputs on the ATEM and it's doing ISO recording of that, the file will be tiny. It's like, don't worry about it. Like the file size it's not like it's filling up your space with your disk space. It's just filling it up with nonsense files. It's kind of annoying, but it's not a big deal. Tom says, is there any reason to use 24 versus 30? I'm curious why 24 is the default. No, the reason is aesthetic. So, film, like actual film was 24 frames per second was chosen, I believe because it was the lowest amount that before it starts looking choppy to your eyes. So like if you go down to 20, you'll see it as like choppy. But if you go up to 30, it looks much smoother. And obviously 60 looks even smoother. But if you're talking about actual film, the cost starts blowing up, right? Like if you're going from 24 pictures to 30 pictures every second, your actual cost of filming is what is that? 20% more or something? Yeah, 20% more. So I think they, found what's the lowest they can go to save money without it looking bad. But it is still like visually noticeable, the difference between 24 and 30, especially if you're used to looking for the difference. So much so that like filming digital stuff at 24 frames per second, you don't really have the same like cost concerns anymore. So at this point, the only reason to do 24 is if you want the look of 24 frames per second, which looks more cinematic because films were always filmed at 24. So it's just aesthetics at this point. So yeah, 30 definitely looks smoother. It'll use a little bit more space, of course, disk space, but that's not the cost of that's nothing compared to cost of actual film. Going up to 60, you will look smoother than 30. The other thing to remember is the shutter speed. So the difference between the frame rate and the shutter speed is super important. So if you're filming at 30 frames per second and you want, I think I can just demo this with this camera, because I can change my camera shutter speed quickly. So my stream is at 30 frames per second, and my shutter speed is at 60, and that's called the 180-degree rule. So the shutter speed is half of the frame rate. Because it's 1/60, 1/30, not 60 and 30. So it's half the frame rate. So what that means is that if I go like this, you are seeing a smooth blur, motion blur. So if you were to go frame by frame through that, you would always see a hand in the like blurry hand in the shot. If I up the frame rate, and the exposure is going to drop, so let me double the frame rate to 120. The exposure is not right because I didn't adjust anything else because it's entirely manual. But if I do this now you will start to see individual frames without a hand in it. And if I go further, let's go up to like 800, and now I might have to actually drop my, just do auto ISO. So now my frame rate is 800, 1/800. Now look how choppy it looks. My frame rate of the live stream is still 30 frames a second, but now it looks choppy because my shutter speed is too fast. So going back to twice the frame rate, now it's set to, let me get my ISO back. So back to the smooth motion between 30 frames a second and the shutter speed being half of that. Now you get smooth motion. If I was live streaming at 60 frames per second, I would need to go double my or have my shutter speed again. Otherwise it would look wrong. So you do need to keep in mind your shutter speed. Set it to twice your frame rate, or twice. The number will look twice as big. It means it's half the length to keep the smooth motion. Oh yeah, the silent films had an even slower frame rate, right? Oh yeah, and 24 also, or bumping up to 30, and also with the 2997 thing also had to do with the electrical grid and syncing frames to the electrical grid. So there's a fascinating whole thing about that as well. Okay, wow, we've been going a long time. We should probably go. How to repair has to go. Thanks for the info. Good luck with the trailer. Thanks for joining. What was that about Apple TV and routing? I need to finish my video about this, but the tail scale trick is, again, it's the easiest way to do this because you can do it with WireGuard directly, but with tail scale, you can make a device, this one. So this is my NAS in the closet, the Synology box, and it is on my home network. It has access to it. There's 2 networks at home that it has access to. It is exposing those networks on the Tailscale network, and that's what this subnet routes thing does. And that means if I'm out of the house and I've logged in on my laptop to Tailscale, my laptop can access all of my 10.11 and 10.4 devices automatically without any that's what the Tailscale connection does. This subnet routing feature is not available on the Mac app, for example, so I can't use my Mac at home to publish the routes, but it is on the Apple TV. So here you can see it's also showing me that it's publishing subnets, and I just haven't enabled them. But if I go here, like, it is also publishing subnets that it has access to that I could expose routed through the Apple TV. That is somewhere, let's see. See if I can find the Tailscale app on the Apple TV. There it is. So this is the Apple TV app. It looks like it wasn't connected. No network. There it goes. Okay. And subnet router, so I can choose to, let's see, this was what I was experimenting with the travel router, so let's get rid of that. So I can say advertise the 10.11 subnet. If it had more networks, it could do more. But yeah, so that's going to publish it, and then you have to go into the admin console and allow it. So I go back here, and then if I look at Apple TV, there it's connected, edit route settings. Oh, it's going to update that in a second. Maybe I have to refresh. Oh, I don't know why it hasn't finished. Oh, probably because I haven't actually like saved this or something. Let's see. Well, it'll figure it out eventually. Anyway, oh, and you can also use your Apple TV as an exit node. Exit node is the thing that lets, so by default, WireGuard, if you don't have any exit nodes configured, or Tailscale will, if I'm on my laptop, it will only route traffic over the Tailscale VPN if I'm trying to access the 10.11 network. If I choose run this as an exit node, then I can, so now that that's enabled, now I can go back to here. Oh yeah, so this updated with that. So I could enable it to route traffic on the my home network, but my Synology is already doing that. Now I can use this as an exit node, and that means I can use this now as a VPN to actually route my internet traffic when I'm traveling. So if I'm traveling, I got my laptop out, get on my Tailscale network, and then I can go into the Tailscale menu, and where is the... Somewhere in here is the... Oh, there it is. Now that it's connected. So I can say, I want to use my Apple TV to route all of my internet traffic. And then if I'm traveling, it'll look like I'm actually at home to anything I'm browsing. So that's the exit node feature. This has been your brief overview of Tailscale. So shutter should be half of the frame rate. Yeah. So if your frame rate is 1/30th, then your shutter should be 1/60th. It's some cameras also do this in degrees. So if you are filming on your camera and you set your shutter speed, your frame rate to 30 frames a second, you can set your shutter speed to 180 degrees, which is half of the circle. Under says, I was thinking Tailscale will be a future replacement to VPN home rather than going through the hardware router. It's much, much, much easier to set up than any other VPN, and I would recommend doing that. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna wrap this up. We've been going for almost 2 hours now. Fantastic. Don't forget to give this stream a thumbs up and subscribe to get notified of the next one. Cool. I gotta fix my chat window because something definitely got wonky with the scrolling. All right. Yeah, we're gonna wrap this up. Again, if you are a channel member, don't forget to find the link below to the members Discord where we can keep chatting, and you'll follow along with my midweek progress on things like building the video cart and traveling. I'm going to be traveling this week, so that'll be fun. Otherwise, see you again next week. Davis has finally made it to watch live right at the end. Oh, bummer. Sorry. Well, you can watch the recap, and we'll see you again next week. All right. Thanks everybody for joining. This has been fun. What a chaotic stream today. Thanks to all the Extreme supporters, Tom, Larry, Kevin, and Marcin. I appreciate it a lot. And thanks to all the other channel members as well. Channel members get to hang out in the Discord and chat throughout the day, throughout the week. And yeah, this has been fun. Got to try out all sorts of random things today, and I will copy all the links from the chat into the video description for you to for the replay crew. And yes, happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers. We will be back again next week, same time, same place, and maybe I will have a giant pile of aluminum parts to assemble by then, or at least it'll be arriving soon. We'll find out. We'll find out. This has been fun. Thanks for all the questions. Drop any questions in the chat, in the comments later if you have them, of course, and I will see you again next week. Bye.